We're going deep on good energy today. And no, I'm not talking about like, that good vibe feeling.
Right.
I'm talking about the energy that literally powers every single one of the cells in your body.
All 40 trillion of them.
Yeah, 40 trillion. Crazy, right? We're using Casey Means' book, Good Energy, to guide us. And let me tell you, this book is packed with some serious, mind-blowing stuff.
It really makes you appreciate the complexity of our bodies. I mean,
Right.
we eat and we move and we sleep, but most of us never stop to think about all the incredible things happening at a cellular level.
Seriously. And the thing is, when things get out of whack down there at the cellular level, it's not just like, you feel a little tired. It can have a huge impact on everything from like how clearly you think to your risk for serious diseases.
Exactly. And that's where metabolic health comes in. It's really the foundation of well-being. It's all about how efficiently your body converts the food you eat into energy. The fuel that keeps those 40 trillion cells running.
Okay, so 40 trillion cells. I mean, how do you even picture that? But here's the thing that really blew my mind. Says that 93% of American adults don't have optimal metabolic health. Like 93%, that's almost everyone.
It's a pretty startling statistic, and the implications are huge because poor metabolic health, it's not just about, the obvious things like type 2 diabetes.
Right.
It's linked to a whole bunch of other issues you might not think about right away, like fatty liver disease, PCOS, and even some types of cancer.
Okay, so now I'm definitely interested, but also kind of worried. What exactly is going on in our bodies that's causing all this metabolic dysfunction?
Well, it's complicated, but our modern lifestyle is definitely a big factor.
Okay.
We're talking chronic stress, not enough sleep, and, we can't ignore the food we eat.
Right. So is that where we start talking about calories and carbs and all that?
Well, those are important, but Means goes deeper than that. She focuses on the types of food that really throw our metabolic processes out of whack.
Okay, so what types of food are we talking about?
She calls them the three horsemen of metabolic dysfunction.
Okay.
Refined sugars, refined grains, and industrial seed oils.
3 horsemen, huh? That sounds kind of ominous. And I mean, those ingredients are in like everything.
Exactly, and that's a big part of the problem.
Okay.
They're inexpensive, they taste good, and they last forever on the shelf, so of course the processed food industry loves them. But when it comes to our metabolic health, they're not so great.
Okay, so let's break it down. What's so bad about refined sugars? I mean, they give you a quick energy boost, right?
Sure, but they don't have any real nutritional value. They're what we call empty calories.
Right, empty calories. But why is that such a big deal?
Well, it's all about what happens to your blood sugar. Refined sugars get absorbed really quickly, which causes a spike in your blood sugar, followed by a crash. And that leaves you feeling tired and wanting more sugar.
Yeah, I definitely know that feeling. It's like a sugar roller coaster.
Exactly. And those constant blood sugar swings over time can lead to insulin resistance, and that opens the door to a whole bunch of metabolic problems.
Got it. So refined sugar is out. What about refined grains? I thought grains were good for you.
Well, whole grains are really good for you. They're packed with fiber, vitamins, and minerals. But refined grains, well, they've had all that good stuff stripped away, so you're basically left with just starch.
So it's like they've been processed to the point that there's no nutrition left.
Pretty much. And
Wow.
because they don't have that fiber to slow things down, they get digested really quickly, which, again, leads to those blood sugar spikes.
Okay, that makes sense. So refined sugar and refined grains are off the list. What about those industrial seed oils? I've heard a lot about those lately.
Yeah, these oils like soybean oil, corn oil, canola oil, they go through a lot of processing, and they're often extracted using high heat and chemical solvents.
Oh, wow.
And that damages their fatty acid profiles, making them more likely to oxidize, which leads to inflammation in the body.
Hold on, inflammation. What does that have to do with metabolic health?
Well, chronic inflammation is kind of like having a low-grade fire burning inside your body all the time.
Oh, wow.
It messes with your hormones, it interferes with insulin signaling, and it increases your risk for all sorts of chronic diseases, including those linked to metabolic problems.
So these 3 horsemen, they're kind of like a triple threat to our metabolic health.
Exactly.
But let's switch gears for a minute.
Okay.
What can we actually do to improve our metabolic health? Give us some good news.
The good news is our bodies are really resilient.
Okay, good.
Even small changes in our lifestyle can make a huge difference.
Okay, I like the sound of that. What kind of changes are we talking about?
Well, one really powerful tool that Rillans talks about is time-restricted eating.
Oh,
It's not about, drastically cutting calories or anything like that. It's more about syncing up your eating patterns with your natural circadian rhythms.
so is that kind of like intermittent fasting?
It's similar. The idea is to have set times for eating and fasting, usually within a 10-hour window.
Okay.
This gives your digestive system a break and helps your body switch to burning fat more efficiently.
So it's not just about what we eat, but when we eat too.
Exactly. It's about working with your body's natural rhythms to optimize your metabolism.
It sounds pretty promising, but I gotta be honest, the idea of like squeezing all my meals into just 10 hours kind of makes me nervous. Is that even like realistic for most people?
It's more doable than you might think. Remember, it's not about, depriving yourself. It's about aligning your eating with your body's natural rhythms.
Okay, but how does that actually work in real life?
Yeah.
Like, what if you're someone who likes to have a late dinner? Do you have to skip breakfast?
Not at all. That's the great thing about time-restricted eating. It's flexible. You can find a 10-hour window that fits your schedule. If you like to eat dinner later, just push breakfast back a bit. The key is to be consistent. Once you establish a pattern, your body gets used to it, and you'll probably find that those late-night cravings start to go away.
Okay, so it's more about creating a rhythm for your body
Yeah.
than like following some strict rules.
Exactly. It's about finding a consistent pattern of eating and fasting that lets your metabolism work at its best.
Got it. But what about those times when you do get those late night cravings? How do you deal with those?
That's where those nutrient-dense foods we talked about earlier come in. When you fuel your body with good stuff throughout the day, those cravings are less likely to take over.
So it's all about like setting yourself up for success by making good choices all day long.
Yep. And don't underestimate the power of water. Sometimes we think we're hungry when we're actually just thirsty, so staying hydrated can make a big difference.
That's a good point. Okay, so we've talked about limiting the three horsemen, time-restricted eating. What else can we do to boost our metabolic health?
Well, one thing that often gets overlooked is stress management. Chronic stress can really mess with your hormones, especially cortisol, which is a key player in regulating blood sugar and metabolism.
Stress, the silent killer. But how does stress actually affect our metabolism?
When we're stressed out, our bodies go into fight or flight mode, releasing cortisol to give us a quick burst of energy.
That makes sense. We need that energy to deal with whatever's stressing us out, right?
Right. But the problem is, these days, a lot of our stress isn't the kind that requires us to, run away from danger.
Sure.
It's stuff like work deadlines, traffic jams, social media, all that stuff that keeps our cortisol levels up for way too long, which can lead to insulin resistance, more belly fat, and even cravings for sugary processed foods.
Ooh, that sounds like a vicious cycle. What can we do about it? How do we stop this stress-induced metabolic mayhem?
The key is to find healthy ways to cope with stress.
Hmm.
It could be anything from meditation to yoga to just spending time in nature. Whatever helps you relax and de-stress.
So it's about calming down our minds and bodies to help regulate those hormones and ultimately our metabolism.
Exactly. And don't forget about sleep. When you don't get enough sleep, your body produces more of the hunger hormone ghrelin and less of the satiety hormone leptin, which can make you overeat and mess with your metabolic function.
Oh yeah, the sleep-deprived munchies. I know those all too well.
We've all been there. But it's not just about the munchies. Not getting enough sleep also messes with your insulin sensitivity and increases your cortisol levels, which further contributes to metabolic dysfunction.
Okay, so getting enough sleep is a must. Any tips for people who, like, struggle with sleep?
Yeah, having a relaxing bedtime routine can make a huge difference. Try dimming the lights, turning off your screens an hour or two before bed, maybe take a warm bath or read a book.
So it's about, like, sending those signals to your body that it's time to wind down and get ready for sleep.
Right. And remember, consistency is key.
Hmm.
Try to get 7 to 9 hours of sleep each night and stick to a regular sleep schedule, even on weekends.
That's great advice. But I want to go back to something you mentioned earlier, exercise. How does that benefit our metabolic health? I know it's good for us, but how?
Exercise is like a superpower for your metabolism. It not only helps you burn calories, but also improves your insulin sensitivity, reduces inflammation, and helps regulate your blood sugar.
Okay, that makes sense. But what kind of exercise is best for metabolism? Do you have to, like, hit the gym for hours every day?
Not at all. Any kind of movement is better than nothing. Even just taking a brisk walk after meals can significantly improve your blood sugar control.
Really? Just walking?
Yeah, it helps your muscles use up the glucose from your bloodstream, which prevents those blood sugar spikes after eating. And don't forget about strength training. Building muscle helps you burn more calories, even when you're resting.
So it's about finding activities you enjoy and making them a regular part of your life.
Exactly. The best exercise is the exercise you'll actually do consistently.
That's a great way to put it. It's about finding what works for you and making it sustainable.
Wow, there's a lot to unpack here. It's clear that metabolic health is about so much more than just, like, how much you weigh.
Right. It really is about taking care of your body at a deeper level, making sure it has what it needs to function at its best.
Exactly. We've talked about ditching the three horsemen, those refined sugars and grains and industrial seed oils. And we talked about time-restricted eating and managing stress, getting enough sleep, and moving our bodies. It's a lot. But the thing I really want our listeners to remember is that even small changes can make a huge difference. It's not about, completely changing your whole life overnight. Just start with one or two things that you think you can realistically stick with.
So like baby steps.
Exactly, baby steps.
So for someone who's feeling a little overwhelmed by all this info, where's a good place to start? What's like the first thing they should focus on?
I always tell people to start with their plate, look at what you're eating now, and think about some simple swaps you can make. Could you, like, swap out that sugary cereal in the morning for a smoothie with protein powder? Or maybe trade those white rice noodles for a stir fry with lots of veggies.
Those are great ideas. Simple, easy things that anyone can do. And what about people who might need a little extra help?
Well, there's no shame in reaching out to a professional. Talk to your doctor or a registered dietitian. They can help you create a plan that's tailored to your specific needs and goals.
That's a really good point. Sometimes it's helpful to have someone in your corner, someone to guide you and keep you accountable. I know this whole conversation has been eye-opening for me, and I'm feeling pretty motivated to make some changes in my own life. How about you?
Yeah, for sure. I'm always learning new things about metabolic health, and it's really inspiring to see how much of an impact even small changes can have. It
Mm.
can really change people's lives.
Well, on that note, I think it's time to wrap up this deep dive. But before we go, I want to leave our listeners with one final thought. Imagine waking up every morning feeling energized, focused, and ready to take on the day. Like you're actually giving your body what it needs to thrive. What's one small step you can take today to start prioritizing your metabolic health? It could be something as simple as, swapping that soda for a glass of water or taking a quick walk after dinner. Remember, every little bit counts, and every step you take is a step towards a healthier, happier you.
Absolutely. And remember to be kind to yourself. Don't beat yourself up if you slip up sometimes. Just focus on making progress, not being perfect.
That's the perfect way to put it. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into good energy. Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and keep diving deep.